So I'm going to start a little bit with just my story. I wrote out so much about, just to let you know about me, and I realized that I just have, one, I'm older than I think that I am. You know, I was like, wow, I just got so many stories, and that there really is too many stories, I think, of God's faithfulness in my life to keep in this little 15 minutes that I have to share with you. And so I'm going to instead really start with my legal career. But first, I wanted to, as a foundation to starting in that legal career, I wanted to say that particularly with me, the stories of God's faithfulness and how He took me as a girl from East Texas in a broken family, getting free school lunches, wearing thrift store clothes, all of those things. That's why it took me paragraphs that I had to cut. There's such a journey that has provided that foundation for the judge that I would be on the bench, that I have to at least just give it a nod to that, even though I'm going to cut it out. I've had to learn so much to be here. God has let me fail and saved me by the skin of my teeth many times. But here I am. And at an early age also, there's this popular scripture passage, Proverbs 3:5-6, and that's kind of become a life verse. It's something that, you know, you'll see printed on journals and everything. So I'm sure everyone knows it if you've ever gone into those types of books and such. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean on unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will direct your path. And so I would say that the best way to sum up all those years of paragraphs that I cut out is that when I trusted in Him, and even the many times that I didn't, He guided my way. And that is the foundation upon which that I, as an individual, am built. Disclaimer for those who either might not be Christ followers or anything that didn't expect they were coming to a church service. This isn't a sermon. I'm not saying that. I just think that that's something that, as I share about my background and my vision and my purpose and my worldview, it would greatly be lacking if I did not acknowledge what God has and has done in my life. And so I hope you welcome this opportunity, no matter what your background or faith is, to understand who I am as a candidate. I say this because I do think that my determination to seek truth and justice, equality before the law, and adherence to the Constitution and the protection of our liberties, I think that is all strengthened by the worldview that we were created as equal, and that we are called to seek the benefit and good of our neighbor. So to the legal career that I promised I would be starting with, as I believe was referenced, I graduated from SMU's Devon School of Law, and then after that I started my legal career at the Dallas office of Baker Botts. You know, for those who are outside of the legal community, that's like last name, right? All those law firms, last name. But it is an international law firm. It's based in Houston, has a large Dallas office, and there I got the opportunity to work on some extraordinary legal matters with top legal minds, against top legal minds, in matters that were in various courts all over the country. And I was blessed at a very early time in my career to get to jump in the deep end and be doing all those legal things. That it wasn't just, you know, document review, which some of my friends got stuck in. I was able to take depositions, go to hearings, provide counsel on various complex matters. But during this time, I also was just somewhere between all of those billable hours, had the opportunity to still volunteer in various capacities with several of our local legal clinics and nonprofits, and continue that dedication to public service that I started back in my college years. Particularly one nonprofit that was referenced in my introduction, in which we focused on representing residents in high crime areas against people that owners of private properties on their streets who were allowing crime to become an oppressive force in the neighborhood. And so after I did that as a volunteer basis, and then after about 4 years at working at Baker Botts, that's when I received a call, a literal call from the nonprofit to ask whether I would consider working for them on a full-time basis. And while this meant a very different path for me in terms of, the prestige of working in a large law firm and the financial aspect of that and all of those factors, I believe that God was guiding me to take that step. In Isaiah 1:17 it says, "Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke the oppressor, defend the fatherless, and plead for the widow." I, many times in my life with my family, kind of fell in those categories. And so I felt that at that time that this was a call that I had to answer. Now it's my time kind of working on the ground with this nonprofit. I had the opportunity, as I was doing this work, to see the city in ways that I hadn't before. To really work with city officials and police officers and neighborhood association leaders and amazing people in the community, pastors and staff members, also other staff members at this nonprofit, to represent these clients. These people were brave, and they took actions on their streets that many of us, if we had the opportunity, just might move. And they stood up and they put their names sometimes out there against people that were truly threatening. These folks risked bullets going through their walls, we would see this when drug deals went bad, or they had to worry about their children finding needles in the front yard as people would walk by and drop them after their drug use. We had friends that would be propositioned by prostitutes, young ones that were assumed to be prostitutes just because they were near some of these drug houses and crime houses. As I was doing this work and working with some of these amazing people, I became more and more aware of some of the structures and issues that went beyond the work that we were doing. The work was needed. It was very rewarding. But there were also a lot of structural issues that were involved because of some of the laws and the government officials and the worldview of those people that had put these laws and these policies in place that I also thought were problematic. And it just brought to light how important it is on the local level that we are electing people into office that have a strong foundation and worldview, because their policies will directly impact our residents. And I'll say I'm ashamed at the time, I rarely knew the names of anyone down ballot. I just didn't. I would vote down ballot, but I rarely knew all of the roles that were there, what those people did. And so this provided a great opportunity to do that. It also provided a great opportunity to see our courts at work, because our work was to take civil causes of action to court to put an end to these crime properties. So we work with the police and neighborhood leaders and such to do so. But at the end of the day, if the case actually went to court, it would be before a district judge, such as the court that I'm running for. As I mentioned earlier, I felt at this time, again, that there were just too many battles to fight. There were so many issues involved, and that I had a lot of learning to do about where I fell in all of this. The reason I'm not still working there, even though I'm very active volunteer for this particular organization, is just that they actually sent me on a silent retreat, a time where I was supposed to go away and just pray and spend time reading scripture and such. And I heard the word that I was supposed to move on to private practice again, and I wasn't expecting that. And so I listened to that, and I went back to private practice, and in this season of kind of also some family building, as we've had a couple of little ones during this time. And so I've been in private practice ever since then. I'm also involved with the Dallas Christian Legal Society and other groups trying to kind of build up the legal community and encouraging attorneys to put their faith into practice. But that happened for a few years, and then on 2018, I don't know, I'm sure all of you voted, actually I'm very certain all of you voted in 2018, and you went down the ballot. At the end of the ballot, if you voted in Dallas County, you saw that there were over a dozen judicial races where there was no opponent. They were uncontested judicial races. I recall going home to Jordan going, what is going on here? Where's the legal community? Where are the Dallas Christian lawyers? Where are people stepping up to these races? Because, I think that it is just because of the heart of man that when any time one political party has a stronghold and is no competition, that is just an invitation for corruption. And so during 2019, we set out, and Jordan will share more about his own journey with us, but we set out to try to get people involved. I will tell you right now that at the beginning of 2019, we did not believe it would be us on the ballot, but that it would be us encouraging and supporting and rallying behind others. This is definitely not about getting the name Justice Voice Lewis on anything. It was about trying to get names on the ballot of people that had a worldview that we could stand behind. At the end of the day, though, while there was a lot of interest, we had people that they were excited about the idea, but did not feel like they could put their names out there. And so I felt like that is something that I needed to do. So I'll say that it just, in wrapping this up, I'll say that it still feels like there are so many issues to be fixed. I do feel on a regular basis that there are so many battles going on in this country. We see it every day, especially if you're on social media. Sometimes you just got to put that down. But I think that for my life personally, God has narrowed what that fight is, what that battle is. And I think that to more people, it has become extremely clear how important it is to have just, impartial, and constitutionally minded judges in our courts. Because these courts, these judges are deciding our disputes, they're guiding our common law, and they are choosing, in some instances, who deserves to be locked up. The worldview of these individuals matter. And for too long that I feel like that we, and I'm speaking to all of us, we haven't been in this fight, and Christian lawyers haven't been in this fight, and instead we've been handing over positions to people that are beholden to power and prestige and potentially corruption because of political pressures. And we need to instead be people that are beholden to truth and to justice and our Constitution. So I hope that you are encouraged by the fact that some people are willing to step up and to be in this fight. And we ask that you please spread the word, be in this fight with us. And our hope is that in 2022 there will be opponents in every single race. Every race will be contested. And not just the judicial races, even those are close to our hearts, but in all local government races. We believe this is a battle that can be won and that needs to be won. And it's not just a battle on the pick the R, the D, but it's also the battle in the hearts and minds of Dallas County to pay attention to these races.